And today we're going to go through marketing. So we're going to start with the basics of marketing, and then go through for how you might consider marketing for you and what are the different options, and then through again to, you know, how do you pitch and how do you project manage, or how do you kind of lay out a campaign. So if you wanted to do an actual promotion, what does that look like and how do you manage that? Okay, thanks, Mark. So a little bit about me. My name is Rhonwyn and I am a trainer by trade. I specialize is in startups and also leadership and management, that sort of thing. So let's get started. What is marketing? Now, the reason I pose this question is because it seems like a very basic question, but it's also a question that I hear so many different answers to. And I think it's because we get this confusion about marketing and what marketing is. Sometimes when I talk about marketing with people, they describe it as sales. So it's like getting people in to buy stuff. Like, well, yeah, that's kind of true. It's part of it. You certainly can't have good sales and good, easy sales without good marketing to prep that. But you potentially can sell stuff without doing any marketing if you're super, super nice and have some good friends and connections. But in other ways, I hear marketing as advertising quite often is the response I get. So it's when you put an ad up and then people click it or call you and then you sell stuff again. But marketing is much more than just advertising. And then I get people who tell me, oh, it's all the stuff you do out in the marketplace in order to get people into your business. Well, yeah, that's also correct, but it's also more than that again. So I think the question is, like, when you think about marketing, what does marketing mean to you? Like, when you have approached marketing in your business, knowing what it means to you also means you have to contend with how you approach marketing in the practical sense. So if you think marketing is advertising, then that's exactly the marketing you will go for. You will just do ads and see what happens. If you think marketing is basically just getting people in to do sales, then again, that's going to define the choices you make about your marketing and everything you do in that space. So for this first bit, I just want to kind of broaden your mind into all the different, the main aspects of marketing, because usually really marketing is a process that goes from the inside out. You need to kind of work out how your business is appealing in the marketplace, all the way through to how do you communicate with people and who those people are and what do you want them to do, basically. Okay, so there's a whole big range within the marketing scope. So marketing is the process of getting people interested in your company's product or service through market research, analysis, understanding your ideal customer's interests, and it runs through every aspect of your business, including product development, distribution, sales, advertising, the whole lot. Okay, it's the whole kit and caboodle. When we think about a marketing plan, we absolutely have to see it how it sits with other parts of our business. Okay, so the first kind of planning we think of when we say planning for our business is, of course, a business plan. Now, if you've done a business plan, commend you, because actually not a lot of people do one. Worked with startups for a long time, and I was actually just saying in the session I just had in between my webinars today, you know, it's really common, you know, we're talking about what people really reach out for and what they want to buy and what they want to engage in. I find with business, people tend to reach out with me because they're having trouble with some element in their marketing, usually social media or pricing or something like that. But not many people reach out to me to do a business plan, and yet they don't have a business plan. And then they wonder why they have a lot of trouble making decisions in their business. So I want to put it to you that if you haven't done a business plan yet, I'd really suggest you do it. There's another workshop and webinar. I think there's a webinar up on the YouTube, the Business Station YouTube channel from a previous webinar we did on business planning. And that basically just goes through what is a business plan, why do you do it, here's some templates, these are the different sections that you need to look at, and here's some great websites to sort some of this stuff out and do some research, okay? So your business plan defines what your business is about, how you're doing it, when you're doing it, and making sure you've got the people, power, and budget to do that. Then from there, it filters down into a strategic plan. So a strategic plan, again, you're really getting into more medium style businesses or serious businesses that will do an annual strategic plan. And this outline, it brings you back into focus to go, this is the vision, the mission, the values, the goals, our current situation, which spits out, okay, based on what we've got and where we're going and what we're doing, these are the strategies we need to work on. So I'll give you an example of that. So if I run a training business, one of the strategies I tried to do, it didn't work out, but tried to do it. I'm an RTO trainer by trade as well. I'm a qualified RTO trainer. What that means is I can do certificate for in business if that's what you wanted to do. Now that is different to other workshops I do where you come along, you learn business planning or whatever, and then you go away and just go and get it done. And I'm a big fan of that type of training because it's really just like no kind of arbitrary assessments to tick something off. It's just you either do it or you don't. It's up to you. I think that's a great type of training. But I thought, you know what, in terms of helping people in startups, doing like a certificate in business, because sometimes I work with people who've been long-term unemployed or they're homeless and that, and quite often running a business for a year or so is a great avenue to get back into employment. And sometimes that's why someone runs a business in a gap year or whatever, or just to get the wheels in motion again. Because running a business means that you're dealing with customers, marketing, finance, sales, operations, routine. You're building skill sets all over the place. It's like the most amazing grounding for doing any kind of job in business that you want. So, even if it is trade-based or, you're providing a service or a product within that business, just the business skills are a great skill set. But teaching people to do that takes time and effort and money. So if I did everything, I do a lot of stuff for free, but if I did everything for free, I probably wouldn't be a very good business person either. So I thought, great, let's partner with an RTO. That means that the government, when I'm in Queensland, so the government in Queensland pays for certificate courses of some kinds. And then by delivering those certificate courses, I can still teach people all the startup stuff, have the certificate as a base, the government pays for it, happy days, we're all great. And I don't have to actually become an RTO, which would be thousands of dollars and lots of steps, although that could have been a different strategy I used. Now, the reason it didn't work out was complications with the RTO I tried to partner with, and that's a completely different conversation. But the strategy was sound. The strategy was good. And that was a strategy I chose based on who I served, where I was going, what I was doing, and what resources I had. So if I wanted to spend 10, 20 grand on becoming an RTO because I really wanted to do the RTO thing for the next 20 years or something, then that probably would have been the more suitable strategy. But because I was like me and one other person, or a couple of trainers, and we just wanted to get the ground up, partnering with an RTO for a couple of $1,000s was a much more sensible plan. Now, so you have to think about in your own business, what are these strategies? And the reason we say this and we do this lineup is because if you don't have a strategy, you don't know what your marketing is. You don't actually know what you want to attract people to and what you want to sell them and what offers you want to make. But if you know, for example, that you were building an accommodation business, and you really just wanted to up how many people do accommodation this year at your tourism spot or whatever it is you do, then, if you don't have a strategy in place of who you want to attract and why they're a good fit for this year, then your marketing is basically going to be like, hey, everybody come on down, we're open. But that doesn't really talk to anybody. That doesn't really offer anything specific, right? And quite often the next logical step from that is, I'm offering a discount or a free night or something. And that's an offer you can do. But again, who are you talking to? Where is that going? Who's going to take that up? So as a strategic plan, I might go, right, for this year, I'm going to partner with 5, what should we do? 5 corporates. And we're going to offer, these 5 big corporate companies. We're going to try and partner with them to do like staff retreats and do it for like 2 months each of the year. So if they can sign up their staff to a staff retreat, will book in for the restaurant down the road and the hall for their conferences, and they can stay at the retreat overnight, and we treat them, and it'll be a package deal. And that means we've got 10, 20 people at a time, and I only have to talk to 5 clients to get them on board, right? So that could be a strategy. Another strategy could be for accommodation, for example, is, okay, I think from our area, I know that most of the people who come to visit me are from the metropolitan area, because I'm only 100, I'm only 50, 100 Ks away from downtown WA, Perth or whatever, or downtown, Darwin, I don't know. And so because that's most of our patronage, I'm just going to do a single offer with, to target this kind of person in this area. We're going to run the crap out of Facebook ads and just get bookings in for this particular type of person with this particular type of messaging, and that's it. The strategy is really just to bring those city dwellers back out to the countryside to retreat with us again, right? So they're 2 different strategies, 2 different approaches, and again, that means 2 completely different marketing plans, right? So business plan is resources and the overall, what's the business doing? Strategic is what kind of zigzag we're going to do this year, which is going to get us to the end vision. What's going to get us there? What are we going to do this year to get us there? And then we come into marketing sales. Now, you could argue operation is next. Yeah, it's kind of gets a bit horizontal from this point. Operational plan is kind of like how you run the day-to-day. Who does that? What resources you have to do that, scheduling stuff in, what apps are you using, how are they booking, what's the customer experience through the mechanics of doing your service or product or whatever it is. That's operations. Workforce is the people to do that and the future planning of your people. So if you have goals for growth, then doing a workforce plan to actually figure out, okay, if I make my sales target by June, that means I can hire 2 more people in July, which means that I can also grow some more, which will get me to my sales target for December, which means in January I can hire 2 more people. Okay, that's workforce planning. Or, hey, Adele, who works in finance, is going to retire next year. I have 0 other people to back her up. She can't even take a holiday. So I'm going to have to bring someone on board, and your workforce plan kind of tells you who that is and what they do and how do you do that. So marketing plan is obviously what we're talking about today, which is the attraction. It's what's your product, what's your service, who are you selling it to, why are they buying from you, and how do we communicate all the stuff and make it super easy for people to engage with us and buy from us, okay? So we talk about the 4 Ps in marketing. Technically, there's other versions that go up to 7 different Ps. It includes people and stuff like that. We're going to look at a few different kinds today, but it's really about what are you specifically offering and who's it to? All right. So how do we use marketing in small business? Obviously, the nature and size of your business and what budget you have will also alter the strategies and the techniques and everything you do in your marketing planning. All right. So in your marketing plan, if you say, I'm going to do this strategy to do huge attraction in downtown Brisbane to bring all the tourists back to Tamborine or wherever, then your budget has to match the spending required for advertising to do that. Now, there's cheap forms of advertising. You can use Cassie.co to do digital outdoor advertising. You can do Facebook and Google ads, which actually you can do quite cheaply, and you just bring the target audience way down. So you might even just focus on a 5-10 kilometer radius or something. Just really focus for a few weeks and hit them hard, and then venture to this other area and hit them hard for a few weeks with ads. You know what I mean? So the more focused your ads are, the more specific and the more niche you are with your marketing, the cheaper it is. But there's lots of different types of marketing you can do, right? And if you're a consultancy type business, chances are you're not going to be doing a geographically located advertisement for to just get people in the zone, unless you are literally okay, we do pest inspections or building inspections, or we do solar power, which in that case, right, we are just going to actually target a few suburbs at a time, and that's where our marketing is going to be. So if you're trying to appeal online for an online business, it's very tempting to do like a really broad scale strategy to try and attract as many people across the world or the country as possible. And if that's the case, if you're going to go broad geographically with your marketing, then you just need to kind of scale it back and niche it with the kind of person you're targeting, if that makes sense. We'll get into that more in a moment. But marketing is really the oxygen in your business. If you don't do marketing, chances are your business is going to stagnate for a long time. And if you're at the point where your business really is doing the same thing week after week and you're not growing, chances are you just need to adjust your marketing a little bit and push it, maybe do a proper campaign to get that, to ramp up that motion again and get more people in the business to buy from you and grow your audience. So this is where how we want to really picture marketing our business, right? And thinking about the whole process of marketing, what all these elements are. Now you can use this for any kind of product or service you're selling. It doesn't really matter. And I just want to say, when we use the word product today, product is interchangeable with service. So it's really just the thing you're selling. It doesn't have to be necessarily tangible. Okay. So at the very center of this idea of marketing and how all this flows together for how people come into your business, interact with your business, and then maybe hopefully return to your business or advocate for your business or refer to your business, you know, this flow starts with a very, very central concept, which is, why do you do what you do? Okay. Because a lot of small businesses especially are still kind of get caught up in the what you do. So the what you do, which could be accommodation or environmental planning or a wine library or, you know, direct to home mail or whatever it is you do, that's the product. That's not why you do the product, right? So if I talk to someone who just wants to run support groups, I'm like, well, that's great. We can figure out how to, you know, make that a monetized version, you know, and it doesn't really matter what you sell. You can always kind of monetize pretty much anything to earn money off it. The question is whether you're earning that money, you know, the reason why you do what you do. So we have a business to make money, fair enough, but you wouldn't put all your sweat and tears and effort into it if there wasn't a good reason for it, right? So why this business over another business even? So once you've figured out your why do you do what you do, right? So Apple just wants to make exceptional products. You know, that's why they keep going. The reason we do the why is because people don't buy your product, they buy your why. And this is the center anchor point of your marketing. This is why modern marketing is very much around videos, storytelling, and getting to know a person's vulnerability and who runs that business, where do they come from, and what's their backstory, and why do they do that? Because people want to know the why. Because there's so many offers out there for absolutely everything you want to do, everything you want to buy. If I've got 10 businesses lined up in front of me and they all pretty much offer the same thing, like, I'm going to go with this business over here because they're local, they've got a great story, it touches my heart, I'm really engaged with that business, I really feel for them, I relate to them, or I want to support them in some way. That's my winner. Okay. For every other business that just goes, we sell stuff, I'm like, well, that's nice. Don't really care. Okay. Like, I want a good deal and I want a good price and I want good value out of what I buy. But if I'm presented with pretty much the same offer over and over again, I'm going to buy the why. So from the why, we can create the product. And from the product, we can kind of figure out, okay, if this is the product we've created, is the product now in the right position? So position in the market is kind of a cross section of how expensive you are and how great value you are. And it kind of branches from there. It's kind of like saying, if I sold sneakers or running shoes or joggers or whatever, if I have a super high quality shoe, but a very, very low price, well, probably the product will speak for itself and I don't have to do too much marketing unless I really want to. But chances are I'm also underpricing it, for one. But that's a very buyer attractive position to be in. If you're super high quality, low price, like that'll sell every day of the week. But chances are that's not the matchup, because if you're going to do really, really high quality, there's probably also a cost to make that high quality. So common ways we've looked at position in the past is, for instance, if you've ever heard of like a premium product or a premium brand, this word premium, you know, if we think cars, we think Lexus, Audi, and then even beyond that, we've got exceptional premium, like super premium, which is like Ferrari, Maserati. You know, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars for a car. You know, but you know, top premium, that car attracts a certain price point. It has a certain expectation for the customer experience. It has a certain expectation for the inclusions, the features. It has a certain expectation the brand keeps its name out of the media for like selling children or doing something awful, right? Or slave labor or blowing up places or whatever, putting oil into the water. So, you know, we expect that brand, that premium brand, to hold a premium brand position, which does good in the world and has a solid brand attached. And we might buy them over another premium brand because of the why, because we're like, well, this brand, it's Australian and I love it. Or this car brand has this huge foundation on the back end that, you know, sends kids to school in third world countries, or produces budget cars for people who are, you know, I don't know, like trying to run a business in Afghan or something. I don't know. I'm really just making stuff up. So, but that position, that premium position, requires certain things. So you have to look at your own business and go, well, what position am I in? And this is a comparison question. It's a benchmarking question. So you look at other businesses in your industry that do something similar. And when we say look at competitors, we have two types of competitors. You have competitors that are offering exactly the same product as you. And you have competitors that also solve the same problem as you. So what I sort of describe as a primary competitor is someone who sits in a very similar position to you and offers pretty much the same product or service, right? That's a direct primary competitor. But someone who offers an alternative option to solve that problem or challenge, or, you know, that need or want that the customer has, that's also competing with you. So I'd call that a secondary or indirect competitor. So an example of that, we go back to that accommodation example before. A primary competitor would be other accommodation in that area, probably. Great. You know who they are. You know what they charge. You probably know all about them and how busy they are and what quality they are and how many complaints the staff get because other people tell you. But indirect competitors would be like B&Bs 100 kilometers away that is still the same distance from your main target audience in downtown Brisbane or whatever. It's not your town. It's not your type of accommodation, but people who are looking to solve the problem of where will I holiday for that week off in June, they are a competitor. So you have to be able to position yourself to be the most desirable option across all those bands. Now, then we get into unique selling proposition or unique selling point and your value. So once we've got a position and we know why we do it, this is where we kind of find our niche. So our niche is like, okay, I'm an accommodation provider that does themed experiences around Star Wars. I don't know. Is there a Star Wars B&B? If there's one out there, please message me. I'd like to hear about it. But to give you an example, I wonder if I could bring it up. A lot of you who are parents or, you know, watch cartoons or watch TV lately, you've probably heard of the show Bluey. And I love to do a shout out to Bluey and Ludo Studios in Brisbane, who do an amazing job with Bluey. I know we watch it a lot in our household and it never gets old. But that means that because it's a product that speaks to an audience and it's a big why behind it, and there's a lot of characterization in the Bluey cartoon show, which is about, you know, a little family of dogs. And it's based in Brisbane, and we see this kind of, you know, Queenslander type house featured as the house that Bluey and her family live in. Now, one of the best marketing ploys for accommodation I've seen in a long time is I literally saw a post on LinkedIn from Ludo Studios, Ludo Studios, showing a real life Queenslander house that someone has decorated to match the house in Bluey. And I can tell you that for the amount of comments of where is this house, that is a house that's going to be booked out every week for the next 3 years, because every family who loves this cartoon is absolutely going to want to have a holiday, a local holiday, to take their family and their kids to the Bluey house, to sleep in the same bed that Bluey sleeps in, and to go and swing in the tree that Bluey swings on, and to, you know, make duck cake in the kitchen that the family, you know, plays elevator and all that kind of stuff. Now that is a unique selling point and an offering of value centering around the why of giving like a truly beautiful customer experience based on leveraging off something that's already popular. So does the Ludo Studio own the Bluey house? I don't think so. Shout out Daily if it is. I don't think so. But what a unique selling point, right? And like I said, that's just a Queenslander house. So imagine if your accommodation could find some unique way to make you so different from your competitors that they can't even beat it. So you're not, you know, you can try and be better than the next person over, or you can try to look at it, step back and look at it and try to do something completely different to win over that absolute value warfare, okay? Now, once we've got that unique selling proposition, we're going into connecting with customers, okay? So this is the tactical strategic marketing that most of you know of, or it could be like marketing communications is kind of the field. And this is where we're actually talking to people. And this is where we find, who are they? What are they doing? Where do they talk? Where do they hang out? What do they got in common? Where do I connect with them? Okay, so you're connecting with customers to explain all the stuff that came before. Why are you doing it? What are you selling? What position you have? Why you're unique and they should buy from you, and you're telling them about how to engage with you, which then brings them around to your sales process. And that marketing absolutely connects to a sales process. So if you have people, if literally someone came up to you tomorrow and said, how do I, you know, I want to buy something, if you're freaking out and going, okay, let's figure this out, you've got to get your sales process in check, okay? But if you absolutely know, yep, I send you a form, we have a call, we do this, you translate that, the invoice is there, yep, you've got your sales process, no problem. Should be as frictionless and painless and easy as possible, absolutely. And then it comes through to your follow-up. Now, follow-up is where most people in marketing absolutely fall down. Yep, zero follow-up. Follow-up is where you get your repeat business. It's where you get your referrals and your feedback, your testimonials, your client satisfaction ratings, your Google reviews, your social media posts, your followers, your sharing, right? So if you've had a client and you've engaged with them after they've used your product or service, and you say, I'm so glad, how'd you go? Great to hear that feedback. Feel free to give us a yell on Facebook. And then you tag them on future Facebook posts to say, hey, Jerry, what did you think of this? And they will comment, they will share, and they feel included in your customer-based community, right? So you're taking customers from a one-off, thanks very much, to a, oh, I feel like I've been included and I'm part of this. And I love what you do. I love why you do it. I love the product. The experience was really smooth. I'm absolutely going to refer you on to other people, right? So there's two reasons why people absolutely will talk about you. One is great, one is not so great, okay? If you only do a good job, people are not going to talk about you. If you do an awful job, people will shout about it. Yeah. Of course, people are more mindful these days about defamation, so they may not use your brand, but to their family and friends, they're absolutely in their ear saying, oh, that was terrible. There's a great webinar I watched about Gary Vaynerchuk the other day. I'm not a huge fan of Gary's, but he does have some really good thinking around marketing, especially. And he told the story that he looked at this awful product and this awful product experience, and these people were trying to hire his marketing company to market them. And they got into a bit of a verbal tussle about it. And Gary was like, look, we are really good at marketing. The only thing our marketing is going to do for you is basically tell the world how terrible your product is. Yeah, it's not going to be a good thing. And that's really where it comes down to. If you do excellent marketing and you get leads in, but you do a terrible delivery or a terrible product and you never ever get any feedback or follow-up and you just don't know, all that marketing's going to do is speed that up so more people know how rubbish you are. So you've got to get the mechanics and the inside right before you venture outside. All right. So do we have any questions? Anybody want to ask a question about any of that so far? We don't have many people on for the live. Mark and Oliver, great. Any questions? Throw it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself and chime in with any questions. Otherwise, I'll keep going for now. Hopefully my sound's working. All right. So let's move on to the 4 Ps. So I'm going to touch on this a little bit. So the 4 Ps is kind of the mechanics of the marketing, right? So when we look at that journey, we're going to look a little bit more specifically at the inside out. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for your support, Mark. So looking at the product, you know, what features does the product have? What level of quality? What kind of packaging does it even come in? And packaging for a service can literally be like the kind of personality that greets you at the door. Like if I do a consultation, so if I'm in consultant mode or coaching mode and I do coaching one-to-one, like, am I saying to them, take your own notes, whatever, see you later? That's not very good packaging around that coaching hour, right? But if I sent them some heads up around, okay, this is what you need to prepare, this is what you need to do, here's a link in case you have any troubles, and then they come and I explain the whole process at the beginning, so they absolutely lay out the expectations, and then there's an actual structure to that coaching hour that we follow. It's a good finalize. I tell them exactly this is what you're going to get afterwards, and this is what we're doing, and this is what next step we're taking. That's kind of the packaging around that coaching, right? So it's you know, if the meat is the product, the sandwich, the bread on that sandwich is the packaging or how it's presented to the client while they're doing it or while they're using it. Okay. So if it's a product, it's literally the packaging. It's literally like, are you using environmentally friendly packaging? Is it actually cushioned against any damage? Especially if you're going to post products. There is a whole host of videos you can see on YouTube of how well couriers treat your products. And I'm not slamming couriers. We have some great couriers, but but certainly, you know, training courier companies, a little training for customer satisfaction, and don't throw packages 30 feet from one van to another. Just saying, probably not great for the packaging. So when you are thinking about sending things in packages, you have to allow for that things don't go, oh, careful, right, into the other van. That's not how that works. But also the experience. So for example, if I was selling clothes online, yeah, I've bought a piece of clothing online that basically came in a Ziploc bag and in a Australia Post envelope satchel, and that was it. And I was like, well, I got it. That's cool. Compared to it's nicely folded. There's a thank you card for the purchase. There's lovely branded colored tissue paper or even blended logo tissue paper around it. It's in a lovely box that's durable. It's going to take the journey. There's a nice ribbon fabric or, you know, cloth ribbon tying it. And then it's got a little bit of wrapping and then goes into the satchel. Now, does that cost extra money? Absolutely costs extra money. You bet your ass it costs. You bet your bomb it costs extra money. But the point is that it's part of the experience. So the product, you have to think about the whole thing of the product. And even with warranties and guarantees, like, you can absolutely take that risk out of buying. If you say, look, and the best one I had was, there was a lady I saw, she did a copywriting course, and she obviously knew her copywriting. So she did a good course, but she did a guarantee. So a warranty is like, usually the product might break and it's a warranty around damage, and that guarantee is usually service-based. We say, I guarantee my work or else I'm going to refund you. So she had a 365-day guarantee on her work for like a 30-day short course. And she was like, look, you do my course, or you take my services, if in 1 year you decide that you didn't like it, I will give you 100% of your money back. And I went up to her after she did her session and I was like, how's that working for you? Like, aren't you worried that people are gonna, you know, which is like the logical thinking, right? Like, what if literally everybody came back after a year and said, I want my money back? It's like, no one ever comes back. Like, after a year, they either don't care or they've already got what they want out of it, and that's fine. She said when I did shorter warranties, I actually had more returns. So if I did a 30-day warranty, I had more people where they were keeping it on their mind and they wanted to consider that out of that money back clause more than the 365 days. So she actually had, conversely, she actually had less returns or refunds doing the way longer warranty on her services than she did if she did a short one. So it's crazy how people think. Now we get into pricing, got to keep moving along. So for pricing, please charge more. That's all I want to say. Please charge more and don't discount. If I can teach you one thing in your entire life of business, please charge more and don't discount. And the reason I say this is because discounting is a teaching tool. If you discount your stuff, you teach your customers and potential customers that if you discount once, you'll do it again. And all that happens is your sales drop until you discount. Now, if you make that your strategy, so literally it's like, oh, and we're a consultant and we're going to give you this value and that value, and look at that, $46,336 in value for the wonderful price of $1,997 US. Like, if that's your strategy, fine, no problem. Do keep in mind with discounts, we actually have laws in Australia to stop you from literally having things on discount all the time. So Australian consumer law says that you actually have to, if you have a retail price and then you say you're discounting it, you have to offer that product or service at the retail price, regularly. Otherwise, they see it as like misleading the customer, right? So if discounting is actually your strategy, then fine. Make sure it's not a matter of this is my amount I want to charge and we're just discounting all the time in order to get people in. Well, if that's the case, you need to adjust your original pricing to make sure you cushion that. It's the coldest coffee in the world. All right, over to place. So pricing can also be packaging as well. So you might, what else do you get with it? Place is literally where they buy it and how they get it. So what I will say for marketing, place is really important for where you market as well. So if you do a tangible product, if you deliver a service in person, I would recommend that you really take that marketing channel into some sort of human offline space. And the reason I say that is because if people are looking for a solution online, chances are they want an online digital type solution, right? They might still search for you and come find you and talk to you. But if you literally made your entire marketing sales process digital, and then you want them to like leave their house and come see you and do something, it's not really matching the channels. So if you, for example, were a consultant or you ran workshops or a service base, if they had to come to your offices and engage with you, then you probably want to get them to come to your office for like an information night or a meet and greet or some sort of event or something to get them out of their comfy chair so that they can see that they can, basically, and they can see that they can come to your offices. It's super easy. And yes, I could totally come back here again and use your services. So just think about the channel. Same thing with like I've seen a good marry up is like if you were going to reach out and offer like some sort of lead magnet. So a lead magnet is where you offer something really good value for free so that people are attracted to your business and want to use it. So in that case, sorry, my brain's starting to stall. It stopped. Let's get it going again. Pause. If you offer an online lead magnet, right, and you're doing it through Facebook, like a good marry up with a Facebook lead magnet is like to join a Facebook group or to do a Facebook Live or a 5-day challenge within a Facebook, like a purpose-built Facebook group that you can then archive, things like that. No worries. Thanks, Mark. Talk to you soon. Thanks for the feedback, mate. So just think about the channels and also where they get it. So if you are delivering things online, you can absolutely sell things online. If you're delivering things in person, you can absolutely sell things in person. But no matter what it is, where people buy the product and transact should be easy and convenient and as frictionless as possible. And I've used that word frictionless a few times today, but I just want to reiterate it, that if you make the place is like where people find you and use you and buy from you and access the product and all that sort of stuff, if you make it complicated, if you make it hard to access, you're just putting barriers down in front of you and the customer's purchase journey, right? So make it super streamlined, super simple, don't overcomplicate it. If someone has talked you into doing some sort of digital sales funnel or a click funnel or something like that, make sure it's appropriate. You know, make sure that you're not putting extra steps between you and the customer because you're really just a little bit nervous to engage with the customer, right? Cut it all aside and go direct, especially if you're a startup. The more direct you are and the more direct live contact you have with the potential customer, the more likely you're going to get your first few sales and really open up your business. And then promotion, of course, promotion is the big one where we always think of marketing, which is you take all of that stuff and you think about some strategy to actually promote the product or the service or the offer, more likely the offer of the product or service. And it needs to match all those places, right? And what suits your business. All right, so using a template. So if we're going to do a marketing plan, I'll just show you an example of a marketing plan. My internet is really troublesome today. Make sure I'm actually, if I ever drop out of sound, please put it in the chat. So I'm going to go. I just want to share my screen the right way and make sure I don't like show anything private. You can see all my wheels turning on my tabs. It's like internet's like fire. All right, I'm going to go to business.gov.au. Oh dear, this could go wrong. Actually, you know what? I'm going to use a different, I'll see if this one's any better. .gov.au. Okay, so you should be able to see this, I hope. No, here we go. So business.gov.au. You also have a business section of your state government. So this is federal government, which Digital Solutions is funded by federal government, Commonwealth government, Australian government, whatever you want to say, at your will. The one we're doing elections for in May or whatever. So with this, there is a state version of this. So if you're in Queensland, WA, Northern Territory, whatever state you're in, you also have like an economic development unit or a state development unit or something like that, business unit. And if you just look up, so for example, every state government department has a particular domain URL ending. So for Australian government, it's .gov.au. So everything from the Australian government will end pretty much, unless it's a government corporation, which is different. I don't want to get into it. We'll finish with .gov.au. If I'm in a Queensland government, it'll be .qld.gov.au. If it's WA, it'll be .wa.gov.au, and so on. So if you literally put in that tail ending and just put in the word business separately, you'll get straight to whatever their business page is, their business development pages. But this is the one I'm going to use, and I'm just going to search marketing, and it's going to come up with searches, which it should include marketing template, or I could put in marketing plan just to make it a little bit faster. And it's already purple because I've been to it a bunch of times to show people this. So this is about doing a marketing plan, download it, and there's literally a free template here, okay, to do a marketing plan. They also have one for a business plan. Most of the state departments, business economic development departments in your state will also probably have template plans you can use, okay? So it's going to go through your new share. So I've just opened this up. Okay, this is the template marketing plan. It's 16 pages as a template. Don't be scared. But that's because you've got to fill out a bunch of stuff. There's some content pages, and you can see what it covers. All your vision, your mission, your SWOT, your products and services. Okay, who's in your marketplace? What problem are you solving? What's the solutions? Okay, this gets modernized every few years. What are the goals? What's the marketing strategy? You can see here, so it's like your 4 Ps, 7 Ps, and whatever. And then, the budget and all that kind of stuff. Okay. So the only thing this doesn't have, as far as I'm aware, is like a schedule and all the mechanics for project managing a marketing campaign, which is different to a marketing plan. So the marketing plan lays out the kinds of marketing strategies you want to do and your goals and what metrics you want. Now, you should measure as much in your business as you can. Okay, you should measure your finances, you should measure your lead generation, you should measure your customer satisfaction, your staff satisfaction, the skill development of staff, everything in your business as much as possible, you should measure it. And the way you measure it is you just be a little bit clever and you go, right, what do I do with this measuring? If I do measure it, what do I do with it? And that will tell you how you measure it. So for instance, if I want to know if my staff are happy, because I want to know that they're happy with my customers, well, how would I collect that? Well, what do I want to know? I probably want to know, do they like me? Do they like the business? Do they love working here? Have they got enough money? Blah, 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 blah. Now, if I ask them those questions directly, as you do as a boss, stupidly, are you happy working for me? Oh, yes, yes. Of course they're going to say yes. So you really want to do some sort of measure where they can answer anonymously. You can get some real feedback and real metrics, and you might do that once or twice a year with your staff. And then if collectively they all say you suck as a manager, so that word twice a day, sorry, then you have to do something about it. Nothing else for it. 20 people can't be wrong. 3 people can't be wrong. They all say that you're. And it could be that they're giving you feedback that, we don't really know what the business is doing, where it's going, what we're supposed to be doing, right? Ambiguity in a job is the biggest killer. Anyway, I'm just saying that as an example, you can measure anything in your business. Now, when it comes to marketing, we definitely want to measure. So there's some activities, channels, all the rest, target date, okay? And here underneath directly, we have what are you measuring and when and why, okay? So what's the activity? When are we measuring it? What is the measure we're going to use? And what results are we really aiming for? And does that meet our expectations? Okay. So you've got to kind of measure all this stuff. And the reason we do that is because if you spend even just $500, but it could be $5,000 or $10,000 on a marketing campaign, which could look like many different things, then you better bloody know if it worked. So just having a spike in sales is not directly indicative of whether that marketing campaign worked, right? So at the very least, at the point where people buy from you, if you want to get marketing right, at the point people make a purchase, you have to ask the very important question, how and why are you buying from us today, right? So basically, where did you find us? Where did you come through from? And you'll see this. So when you do, registration forms for programs and events and things like that, there's that question. How did you hear about us? It's a simple question. You can offer some examples to tell them, or you can just leave it open and let them, if you're only dealing with a dozen customers a month, you can just leave that as an open question. How did you hear about us? And they might say, oh, my mate, David on LinkedIn referred me or whatever, or, my cousin Sandy showed me your website link or whatever. So, but that's how you measure what marketing is working. So I will let you know that, we're doing radio ads at the moment, and some of you might have heard the radio ad. And I think my voice might be on the radio ad at the moment. I'm not sure. I did one. Scary. So radio ads, you want to know if radio ads are working. I'll absolutely tell you radio ads are working because every second person I'm dealing with at the moment has heard the radio ad. Now, what that tells me is that that radio ad is working, and we should keep going with that radio ad, and we should keep playing that radio ad, because everything that people do, there's like a lag time with different types of people. So you've got people who are early adopters, technology, everything. They'll get in super quick, super fast. They know what they want. They're there to do it. They're there. Then you've got people who, I'll think about it. I'll check my budget. Can I afford it? Blah, blah, blah. So your next stage. Then you've got the people like, I've heard this ad for like 3 months now. I think I might sign up. Right? You've got your late adopters and all the rest. So that's why any marketing you do, you have to do it over time. You can't just do something once. It's got to be consistent. It's got to be regular. It's got to be repeated. It's got to be recognizable. And then you'll see results. But you still have to measure all along the way. Because if you run the same ad for six weeks, 8 weeks, 9 weeks, and you literally have zero response from it, that's a no. But if you get trickles through, then you know it can grow. Okay. And what you do is you go through the process of just kind of tweaking your ad or your campaign, so that next time you do it, or next time you run it, or next time you talk to people, or next time your call center does a script, or whatever the campaign is, you can tweak it and make it a little bit better. So every person that comes through is potential great feedback to let you know if your marketing's working and whether you should do anything more with it. Okay. So that's a marketing template. Okay. Very easy to follow, very instructive. How critical is research in marketing? Super critical. Now, where can you do research? That's probably the next question. If I come back to that webpage as an example, oops, no, that's Word. I'll get there. Okay, so if I open a page that's just got Google, for example. Okay, now this is technically Google, but all right. That's what I want to search. So Google is a great fountain of knowledge, and I would probably even be in Chrome to use Google, because Chrome is from Google and it collects a lot of info and helps you with research and all the rest. So if I just go to Google itself, and I'm in Australia, so I'm going to do .com.au. What's the difference? Well, it's just going to show me more local results more quickly. You've got Google search. I'm feeling lucky is going to give you like a top of range. So I don't know how many people use I'm feeling lucky these days, but they've still got it. So I'm guessing it's useful. You've also got Google Scholar, which is articles, like journal articles, Google Scholar. You've also got market research companies like IBISWorld. Oh, if I can type into it. So IBISWorld is one of many, I'm not endorsing specifically, but it's one of many companies that exist to provide market research. Okay, so I can find a list of industries, and I can go there and I can check it out, and it'll tell me what's the size of the industry, how many billions per year does it do, who are the top companies in this industry, and what's their market share. Absolutely. What are the barriers to entry into this industry? So if you want to start a business in pest control, is it very costly? Is it very hard? You know what I mean? So it's hard to start a taxi business. It's not hard to start a tutoring business. You get me? That's barrier to entry. So there's some great reports in here. Now, previously, these reports were like several $100s each, like maybe $700. And you can do industry reports, you can do market reports, all that kind of stuff, go down by category and get specific types of businesses. So for instance, I could search up there. I'm just going to go Control F and go tutoring. What about if I don't type it wrong? Is it there? No, it's not going to do it. All right, fine. So I have a tutoring and driving schools, US, arts and non-vocational education in Australia. What else is there? Yes, there's a bunch of results. Online education in Australia. So let's check this out. This is a very popular topic at the moment. Online education, course creation, all the rest, except cookies. Thank you. Everybody seeing me okay? Yeah, great. So then I'm going to go through and it's going to tell me, okay, what's the industry growth? What's the thing? Now, the reason this is all locked, obviously, is it's giving me some overview, but I need a membership or I need to pay for it or whatever. So is it worth paying a few $100s for market research? There's obviously a lot of free information out there, so it's arguable, but I will say this. I used to work in state government where we would give these reports out with planning kits, and I've read through a bunch of them. They're super useful, right? They're a great starting point for like, who's buying, who's in this category, who's buying stuff, what are they spending, what's the average pricing. You can also do benchmarking. So another type of research, if you want to do pricing, if you want to learn about pricing, you can do benchmarking. So benchmarking, the term benchmarking is used in a bunch of different places, but if you're benchmarking finances, I would probably go to the ATO and banks like maybe Combank and other big banks. And what you're really looking for is a benchmarking report. And what this benchmarking report tells you is like for online education businesses in Australia, if that's what you're doing, it'll say, this is the average turnover. These are the typical expenses and the average percentage of expenses of what they spend. And it might even show you 3 categories. So small business, medium business, large business, and what that breakdown is. So obviously the wage expense in a small business is a very different percentage to the wage expense in a really large business, you get? So you have to benchmark your pricing and expenses and finances against the same type of business. That's all I'm going to say about it, because in marketing, you're really just looking at how much other businesses are spending on marketing if you're wondering what to spend. But you can work that out from your own budget anyway. Other places, so if I go back to Google, I go back to Google and I just search accommodation near Brisbane. Okay, it's going to tell me, basically, it's going to tell me who has put themselves on Google My Business, who has the best SEO or the best website and SEO. What sort of websites are people looking at for reviews? It's going to tell me the common questions people ask about accommodation, which really helps me with tuning my web content. What is the best area to stay in Brisbane? I could write an article about that, put it on my website. Great. How old are these? This article, let's say, how do I find accommodation in Brisbane, right? So there's all the, now this sounds more like, flats and things, but anyway. I might put holiday accommodation. I might tweak it. And even before I hit start on that, in the search bar, it tells me other kind of search terms people are looking at. Like these are all predictive because Google knows that people are looking for them. All this helps with your research, right? It helps you with tweaking your website, thinking about what people are looking for. Can I put an offer around that? So cheap hotels in Brisbane under $100. If I'm an accommodation, I'm near Brisbane, could I do an offer where it's like you pay $100 deposit and then you pay the rest, I don't know, weekly until the day you stay? Or, can I give out a $100 gift voucher, which is really just a discount, but they have to claim it at my accommodation in the next 6 months or in the quiet period or whatever. Okay. So this helps you kind of structure your offers and what you're going to do as well. All right. So research, yes, research is very critical in your marketing. So let's think about how we break this down. So when we're coming up with our marketing, we have to first define the problem. I'm just going to check the time. Yes, we're good. Sorry. Try that again. First, we have to define the problem. And the reason we do this is because you can't just focus on your solution. So your solution is the service or the product or whatever you're selling, but that's not what people are trying to solve. They're trying to solve the problem. So what problem, need, issue, gap, whatever do you solve? What are you satisfying? And who else is doing it? Obviously, check your competitors, direct and indirect. Research the alternatives that they're currently using, right? So if you have some sort of device to whiten teeth, fabulous, it's going to be popular. But what are the other options out there? Is yours more expensive, more complicated for the same results? Well, then you're probably not going to win the battle, okay? But if yours was more expensive and more complicated, but had a massive result and great feedback and reviews and everything, well, then you're probably going to win out, right? Because people will tend to happy to spend a little more if they get what they want. Decide a criteria that people might use to buy your product. Now, people don't necessarily, I don't know anybody, many, very analytical people might, but I don't know many people who will literally sit down and come up with a list of criteria before they go and buy a shirt or a car even, or a house even, right? They might have one in their mind though, right? So even if they don't define it clearly, you can help with that. So you can define what kind of criteria someone would need to solve that problem and make sure that your product or service fulfills all that criteria. Now, I'll give you an example. I sat in a meeting years ago, and this organization had hired a guy to redo their website. And to be a little bit fancy pants and impressive, he did research on all the best websites of comparable organizations across the globe. And he came up with a set of criteria and a best in practice hit list, basically. And then he ticked off, he basically marked off, did the competitive research and right, these are all the organizations, this is what their website has. So do they have this? Do they have is their SEO good? Are they showing this? Are they doing color branding? Are they, what kind of format, what kind of structure, what kind of call to action, right? Looked wonderful. But he kind of dug himself into a hole. And I say he because it was he, but dug himself into a hole because then when he brought up his plan for our website, it didn't actually fulfill all the criteria he had benchmarked himself. And all I can say is I'm not a quiet person. I'm not a mean person. I was very polite, but I did ask the very critical question, which is, if this is the criteria we're supposed to be aiming for, why is your solution not meeting it? And even though that probably was a very confronting conversation at that point, where the guy was a bit like, I don't know. And I felt for him, but at the same time, it wasn't meant to get him in trouble in any way. It was meant to highlight the idea that if you're coming up with a solution for us and we're buying from you and we're looking for the best solution possible, then you yourself have acknowledged you're not meeting all the criteria we need. So go fix it, go again, fix it. And this is where you come back to your product, past your why, come back to your product or your service and go, can I make this better? Put your marketing brain on and go, right, if I know that every customer is going to expect this from my product, do I have it? If the answer is no, it's going to play with your marketing something because you'll be getting people onto your website and no one's buying. And you'll be like, why are they not buying? I'm not converting on my website. Something wrong with my website. And this is where people get caught up with marketing being a very surface level thing above the waterline, like an iceberg above the waterline. We look at the surface level when actually it might simply be that they can see straight off the bat that your product does not meet the basic criteria to be the choice, right? There's no second place in the sales game. You either win the sale or you don't, okay? So you have to be the top solution and fit criteria. Then we're going to figure out, okay, who is actually buying this? Now, the reason I have a picture of what looks like a mum and a child is because we have to think about who is actually purchasing the product or service, not necessarily who's going to use the product or service. And toys are a great example of this. So commercials for toys are absolutely pitched at kids to get so hyper excited that they will absolutely bombard their parents or their guardians until they buy it. But at the end of the day, they also have to display the usefulness and features and benefit of that toy, because at the end of the day, a parent has to say yes to buy it. So in an ad, they will play down how noisy it is. They will play up how excited it is. So that's where you get that disclaimer on a lot of toys ads, like, one model shown in picture may be different to the actual one you buy, or all features are in the premium model, or, you know, actual lighting may appear differently in your home. And it's because they Photoshop, they tweak, they up all the excitement of that toy to pitch it to the kid. And then they show how great value it is to the parent because the parent's actually going to pay for it, right? It's a little bit misleading, I won't lie. Those toys, super noisy, more noisy than the ad. But anyway, so who's actually going to pay for your product? Now, when you go investigate your product or service, if you're a startup, the main thing you're going to ask is you're going to go to friends and family, people you know, and go, what do you think? It's natural to ask people you know, what do you think? You got to ask yourself, are those the people who are actually going to pay, like pull out their wallet, get their credit card out and slap down some money for this product or service? If the answer is no, don't bother asking them. They're just going to be nice about it. So this is where we might do a bit of a test up. So in your marketing, if you're launching a new product or a new service, do a bit of a taster ad or a post or something and say, hey, we're looking for 20 people to test out this new product, who's in? And see who responds. Literally, just open market, see who responds. If it's like 15 women are like lining up keen to try this product, you've got an avatar. You've got a type of person that's coming through who actually wants to pay for this product. Now, I say that it's a free trial or whatever, but they're motivated enough to take an action and get over the barriers to get the trial. If in that case you do something like that, make sure you get lots of feedback. Did you like it? Didn't you like it? Why not? All the rest. Okay. I'm going to throw it open to questions. I tend to talk a lot. So for people who are on the Zoom, could you sit and list the type of problem your product or service is trying to solve? Feel free to pop it in the chat, give some examples. And then from that, do you have it very, very clear in your mind who that person is that who's going to buy from you? Feel free to pop that in the chat as well. You can just put a yes if you don't want to share. But also, what is that person going to expect from the experience? It's a bit of a mouthful. Which then moves on to help us define the product or the service and refine the product or the service a lot more. So what are the attributes it needs? Where are you going to source your materials, your suppliers, your talent, and make sure it's in a sustainable and a resilient way? Now, I put this point in definitely post-COVID because so many shops, service providers and everything got caught out where people couldn't work, places couldn't dispatch, ships couldn't move, boxes couldn't get unpacked, production lines stopped, right? So for every product or service you create, you have to create a backup plan for starters. The second thing is go back and check whether what you're supplying is actually as intended. So I'll give you an example. I worked in a shop in retail when I was younger, and it sold copper art. It was literally called copper art. And then it changed into home art, and then it changed into homewares. And that was a pivot in the marketplace because they've gone from a shop with a highly desirable artistic art form to realizing that not many people are buying that anymore. Let's change the model, which was smart. And from that, the first shipment of household furniture that we started to sell was really low cost, but really quite good quality. And even I was like really surprised. I'm like, a nest of 3 tables for $99. This is looking amazing. Or $50 or $40 or whatever it was, right? Nest of tables, who buys them? We do. So, but then after about a year, what happened was the wood got softer and cheaper. And the laminate, which should have been like a nice mahogany kind of color at that time, started to look a little bit of a pinky red on the brown. So, and then it would have like little imperfections. And all in all, the quality went down. But they still tried to sell it for the same price. Now, if you are, if you're in the last workshop this morning where we were talking about increasing your margins and lowering costs, there has to be a hard limit on ruining your value proposition, okay? If you suspect that going cheaper is going to ruin the level of value you offer for that price point, that's a no. Because what will happen is even really keen supporters of your business will start to say, no, they've lost me. Okay. And also as a person, it gets embarrassing if you refer someone to a business and the quality turns out to be crap when you had such a good experience. Then it's like, oh, I'm so sorry. You feel like you have to apologize for that business you sent them to, you know, because it's all your fault. So so do make sure you think about your supply chain for tangible things and also your talent. So, you know, thinking about even just your sales talent to get to be able to voice this product. You know, if you have to put an ad out to get a salesperson in, chances are those salespeople, you got to wonder how good they are that they're looking for work. And I say that, I don't say that in a bad way. I just say that in a logical way, that people who are excellent at what they do tend to be in demand and very rarely look for jobs. I say that with a bit of a pinch of salt because you know, you can also have, on the flip side, when you think about talent in your business, you can also have exceptional talent that have met circumstance and happen to be long-term unemployed even. So I've met wonderful artists, great corporates, people returning to work after an unfortunate mishap, caring for a family member, having children, changed careers, got made redundant, had a lot of, you know, just emotional and mental upset from that, you know, even though they were really good at their work. So talent can come from anywhere and you can always train talent. But if you are choosing to hire talent, for example, overseas, that is talent that you have less of a control function over in terms of making sure you get the best out of them and they're always delivering a good job, because you're not immediately accessible to them to to watch over them and everything. So we're going to move past that now. Really want to just make sure we've got the product refined to match the other two areas. And then we're going to decide our place. Oh, it's like I have a bullet point missing. Define what is the most convenient place for them to buy it. If you know that all your competitors are selling online and you're not, well, buying habits dictate where people buy it. So if a product can be bought online, then that is a product that people will buy online. That's basically how that works now. So in Digital Solutions, the program that you've come through from, like, to see this workshop today, there's lots of different workshops on like how to build an e-commerce shop or a shopping cart or build it into your website and convert and all the rest. So do reach out for help if you want help. But I want you to now write down, if you're a customer, what is the most convenient way you could buy this? Would you buy it online? Would you expect it to be delivered from you to you? Yeah. So I've had experiences where I'll tell you what, I have. There's this great. I'm going to give a shout out to Mbimbis Gin in Ipswich. Mbimbis, beautiful gin, probably some of the best gin I've ever had. And I saw them at the Ipswich Small Business Expo that Ipswich Chamber put on last year. They're in the store opposite me. And so for like 2 days straight, I'm looking at this beautiful gin, and it's, you know, award-winning, London, blah, 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 blah. I'm like, all right, I like gin. I'm just going to buy like a sample pack, you know, take it home. And I went back after I bought it from the stall, this 2-day stall. I went back and I was like, oh, I'm so silly. You didn't mention, and I forgot to ask, where can I buy this after today? And they're like, oh, there's like 3 different places you can buy it. And I was like, is that it? Don't you want, like, do you want, you know, and then of course, doing what I do, I was like, do you want some help setting up like an online shop or distribution, blah, blah, blah. And for them, they were like, no, this is what we want to do. This is how we do it. This is the, you know, we'd have to change our whole operation setup and everything to go bigger than this. So, and that's a personal choice for you. So if you feel like you want to go bigger, then place and replicating that sales channel is super, super important. And online possibly is where it's going to be. Yeah. And being able to replicate that process online for where it comes from, where to buy it. And make sure it's mostly a very affordable one. So I've seen people with $30 products get caught up in sales funnel and shopping cart programs where they're spending like $500 or $1,000 a month to set that up, and they have like a $50 product. Okay, you have to match it. So if you're selling a very low ticket item, which is like less than $100, then you want to set up like pretty much a free type of shopping experience. Now, how can you set up free online shopping? It's very hard. If you're doing online course creation, there's programs that you can do it for free and then only pay when you sell. If you do retail and products, you can do things like on consignment. So you get the product in the store and they only pay for the product as it gets sold, right? So there's a bit of, there's a bit of faith in that. And then you've got other options like, selling through Amazon, eBay, Gumtree, Etsy, all these places that are like, you can set up a shop for free, or it might be just a low cost. So you just got to match it up, but definitely it's got to match as well. So for instance, Etsy, ETSY, Etsy is like an online shopping cart marketplace, and you build a website in Etsy, and it's where people go to buy when they're trying to look for very independent operators. So it's crafts, it's independent products, individual products, crafted products. I'm probably repeating myself, but you get the idea. That's kind of that's the kind of place to go. Whereas if I want to find books and or I'm really lost and I just want to see lots and lots and lots of different options, I might go to Amazon. In which case you might want to have a store and list on Amazon, which you can absolutely do. Otherwise, I might set up Shopify, which is a really great e-commerce platform. Or I might literally just have a free web page through WordPress, and I just get a PayPal button plugin. And I say, this is it. You want to buy it? Press here. It goes to PayPal, and you got a cart. So there's lots of different ways you can sell. And then that brings us to price, which is, what is the price point? How are you pricing it? What is the price? Okay. So I said this in the beginning, please up your prices. And I say this not because I want you to be expensive, but because I want you to really have confidence in your pricing. I want you to pick a price point and review your pricing like today. So we talked about this in the early workshop on profit, which is really just this idea that you might think you have a ceiling price. Do you? Someone has to be the most expensive. Andrew Griffiths, actually, I've probably got the book here somewhere. Andrew Griffiths has a great book called that, how to be, someone has to be the most expensive. And it's a whole book teaching you about how to price yourself properly. Now, there are questions. There's always questions around, well, if I go more expensive, no one's going to buy from me. If that's really, really, really the case, then first I'd get you to try it and see what happens. The second thing is to just keep in mind that it could be that you can't go above that ceiling price because people don't know you well enough. Yeah, you've got to build in the value, the why, the trust, the customer follow-up. And once you've got all those other key pieces in place of the puzzle, you can then up your price. You can also change your price structure entirely. So who says you have to do an upfront price? There's programs like OpenPay, ZipPay, BizPay. There's a lay-by one. You can do payment installment plans just from yourself. You could do a buy one, get one free. You could do packaging. Instead of offering this one thing for this one price, and that's what the whole market does, blow it up, do it completely different. Offer a bunch of stuff, make it subscription, and just give it a go, right? And why do I say that? Because you know what? If it doesn't work, you can go back to the same pricing. You could do it as a temporary offer. See who takes it up. Don't be scared to try stuff. But do remember that in pricing, try and have a healthy profit margin and never, ever, ever give stuff for free. So especially with consulting and things like that, I see a lot of people working for free simply because they're not building their labor and their time expense into that offer. And when we sit down and work it out, this person is working basically for $10 an hour and they're an uber professional. So fix your pricing and make sure it matches. So if you're using a premium pricing point for your industry, make sure your value proposition and your quality matches that. And then promotion. So the way you communicate your unique selling proposition to gain awareness and sales. Very, very important to get sales. So with your promotions, and what we're probably going to dip into now, okay, so have a campaign, have a plan, have a campaign, look at your strategy, business plan, strategic plan. What's a promotion in your marketing to match that strategy? Okay, so if I was going to go that RTO partnership route that I explained earlier, then my promotion would have to match to be like, hey, do you want to do a business course and get a certificate, but then really start your own business and practice it? Then this is the place for you. Or hey, if you've been wanting to start a business, but training is too expensive or the learning's so confusing online, well, then come to us and we're going to take you through a 12-week course, that certificate course, and the government pays for it. How amazing is that, right? So your promotional message, your package, your offer has to match your strategic plan, okay? If it doesn't, then everything's going to be misaligned. Your unique selling proposition is not going to be highlighted enough. Your messaging is going to be confusing. And just pick one type of person. You know, we're talking about who's actually going to buy this. Same thing goes with your promotional campaign. Who's going to engage with this campaign and opt in to buy it and take advantage of the offer you're promoting, okay? There's a really great book or theory on marketing around promotions called guerrilla marketing. And I'll spell it Guerilla, pretty sure, guerrilla marketing. And Conrad J. Levinson, I want to say is the name. And that book is all about kind of, don't think about just advertising. Think about being smart. You know what I mean? So a friend of mine, she was starting a fitness business. And what she did was, as an example, I don't know how well it went. Thinking about, I was like, I'll explain it. She went down to the docks near her house, and as people were getting on the ferry to go to do their work, she handed out bananas and her business card to go and do fitness training, like PT type work with it, right? And maybe she wrote a business name on the banana skin, and I was like, well, what happens when they eat the banana and they throw the banana skin away? She's like, oh, I didn't think of that. But you know, it's just that kind of stuff. It's like totally left field. Like, who would show up to the ferry in the morning and expect to be given a banana and say you need to work out? Probably not that common. You know, do skywriting. Go into an office and you know, give out a freebie and say, hey, come use me, whatever. There was another consultant I knew. We had a good discussion, and his model was very different to mine. He worked with like more experienced businesses that just really needed more sales and promotion, whatever. And he only charged, his fee was basically a percentage of the increase in sales he could get. I was like, well, that works. Zero risk, right? So he gave me an example. He said there was this takeaway business, and they were sitting underneath this huge office building, or residential building, actually, I think. Massive, you know, somewhere near the Storybridge, you know, kind of area around Brisbane, you know, central. Lots of apartment buildings. And they were like, just not getting enough takeaway through. So he hired 2 international students from South America. And I'm not going to lie, he was very specific. Said very good-looking female students. And this would not work everywhere. And I'm not being sexist. This is just what they did. They got 2 very good-looking students who, you know, bubbly personality, very happy, very lively, you know, easy to look at, and took their menus around all their residents, knock on the door in the residences, hand out a menu and say, hey, if you order today, if you order this week, you're going to get like 5 or 10% off your order or whatever. Now, within like a couple of weeks, they went from like $300 days to like $1,000 days, right? And now, would that have worked if that owner had, you know, who wasn't some 18-year-old student, went around the buildings and gave out menus? Would that work the same? Maybe, maybe not. You got to try it. You know, you got to test it. But just saying that, you don't have to necessarily spend on advertising to do a promotion. A promotion is really just, this is who I'm talking to. This is the offer I'm giving. This is the message to let them know it's for them specifically, in whatever that commonality is between those type of people. And this is when you have to take advantage of it, right? So a promotion in its essence should really have like an end date. It shouldn't go on forever, all right? Because if it does go on forever, then it's not really an offer or a promotion or any kind of urgency to it. You're really just saying this is what we do, right? So you've got to have an urgency. All right. We're going to go into marketing tactics. I'm going to show you some examples very quickly, and then I want to show you, how you can kind of manage this stuff. All right. So this is just a slide I use sometimes in marketing and business planning stuff to let you know about different kinds of promotions. So when you're thinking about a campaign for marketing, a promotional campaign, there's a few rules around a promotional campaign, all right? So the first one, and basically repeating what I've just said, it must be for a particular type of person. So pick your avatar. Avatar is just like a framework we say to describe a type of person. Pick your avatar, which could be like mums, 30 plus, that go to the gym and do this and that, whatever the common thread is between those people. Describe them. Okay, what is the product what is the problem we're going to solve for them? Why is, and maybe we need to do this the other way around, do it in the order I said. So what's the problem? What's the person? What price or offer are we going to provide for them? How are they going to access it? And how are we going to connect the dots, right? And then to make it a campaign, that offer is going to be temporary in nature. So there's a sense of urgency and fear of missing out and all the rest. And it needs to really have massive value for little and easy buy-in, okay? So if you, and when we start this off, the question you really got to ask yourself for a marketing campaign is, what do we want to achieve from the campaign, okay? So if you're doing an exercise in branding because you really have a very common product, it's very competitive in the space, and you really just want to set your brand apart so that people are familiar with you, love you, and choose you over other brands, a branding campaign is very different to, can we just get foot traffic kind of campaign? You get me? So if you want to see an excellent kind of branding campaign, Coca-Cola did their campaign, which is, I want to say Share a Coke. Pretty sure that's the name of the campaign, Share a Coke campaign. So a few years back, Coca-Cola, the new millennials coming through, the young people coming through are like, why would I drink Coke? It's totally bad for you. It's full of sugar. It's like, it's not exactly a health drink. So they're actually having a huge decline of young people taking up Coke. They went, right, what do young people love? They did some research, right? So they immediately went, the problem they wanted to solve for them, the outcome they wanted from the campaign was to get more people aged 15 to 25 to buy and drink and become consumers with a lifetime value of consuming and buying Coca-Cola, okay? That was the goal of the campaign. Now, they couldn't just run an ad like fun time, summertime, share the Coke, get that Coke taste, because that wasn't working anymore. They had to do something different. So what they did was they did a multi-stage campaign. And in the first stage, they really, hopefully I get this right. In the first stage, they just started putting people's names on bottles. So you'd reach into the fridge, and if your name was Amanda, you would say, oh, look, there's a Coke with Amanda written on it. That's so weird. I'm totally going to buy that, even just for the novelty of it, and then show it to my friends. Then it was, then it went into the stage of, okay, now lots of you, your names aren't on Coke bottles, so let's come in and you can get your name on a Coke bottle. So they set up these booths where you could literally sit down, type in your name, and it would produce a label put on the Coke bottles. Vegemite did this promotion too, put your name on your Vegemite. Then it went to a whole social media thing of share the Coke. So you get a Coke for someone else, you'd take a photo of you with your names, share it on social media, so then it has a whole social media campaign following. And it goes from there. So was the campaign successful? Was Coca-Cola, they know what they're doing. So I'm going to say yes, it was. But in saying that if they had said, oh, we actually just want to have people buy the larger size Coke, that campaign would be very different. All right. So you've got to choose a campaign based on what is the outcome you want. Now, for most of you, you're just going to sit there and go, I just want more customers. And I get it. I get it. So then you've got to ask yourself, well, if I just want more customers, what is the number one flagship product or service that is the most popular thing I have, is the no-brainer thing to buy, and what I can offer them as a limited offer to convert people. So maybe people have been looking and I just need the conversion go up, or maybe I just need foot traffic. So for example, I might try and make a viral video, or I might set a challenge. I might go, right, everybody, we're going to set a challenge. So maybe I sell shoes, and I put up a challenge to see who can run the fastest, or do the funniest run, or the most weirdest run, or, you know, show me, come onto my social media, show me what you can do with a pair of shoes, and then just let people get creative and do whatever they want and submit. And the winning videos get like maybe a pair of shoes and showcased, or like a spotlight, maybe have like a festival or an event at the end, or like an online event where everybody, you know, does something. I don't sell shoes, but you know what I mean. You get what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't have to be, hey, click here to get a voucher to get 10% off your next pair of shoes. It's kind of boring, and everybody knows that, and you're not really getting any cut through. But if you get something that's a campaign that's highly engaging, gets a lot of attraction, and then gets attention to you, and then on the back of that, you can either capture details and sell them after. So at least you've got lead gen, or it could be really simple. So a really, really simple lead gen and capture could be literally an ad that drills into a pain point. And I don't mean that in a nasty way, just grinds it in and goes, ouch, I know you're feeling this. I've got a solution for you. Click this link to find the secret to solving this problem. Okay, I'll buy it. What's the secret? Goes through a one-page landing page video. You're on video going, hey, thanks for clicking. Guess what? I've been, you know, this is my story. This is what I struggled with. This is how I overcame it. This is what, on the back of that, we do this great service. This is my why, right? You don't say this is my why, to be clear. Explain your why, explain your story, go through, here's the secret. All right, if you want us to show you how to do this, or you want to buy the product that does this, click the link below, and we're going to send you a special offer, just, you know, and this is only going to go for 24 hours. And then what happens is your automatic landing page funnel building system that you've, you know, cheaply bought, it will come up with a button for them to click under the video. It takes them to something like a jot form where they fill out one question at a time, a few questions. You capture that lead, you give them a call and say, hey, Donald, glad you filled out my form. This is how it works. I'm going to email you the offer, and then in a week, we're going to have a conversation and blah, 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 blah. All right. There's lots of different focuses you can have. You just got to work out what's right for you. So when you're thinking about campaign building, you've got to think cause and effect. If you do A, what does it trigger a customer to do as action B, right? So if you offer a freebie, what happens after the freebie? If you offer a training, how do you get them to opt into something else after the training? If you offer a discount, how is that going to get repeat business from them after they've had that one little discount? Like, how do you bring them back and keep contact with them? All right. I have to keep an eye on the time. So if you find that you're avoiding promoting your business, or you're shying away from marketing, or you're not sure what you're offering or how to market yourself, go back to the very, very beginning and just think of one customer you have that you love to sell to. So if you've been operating for a few months even, you're going to have a list of customers you've served. Go back through that list of customers and see what the most common thing they have, or what is your most popular type of customer, or what is your least maintenance, highest value customer, right? And just pitch to them in all your marketing, right? So if you find that you went out to go solve this problem for person A, but actually your product solves this problem for person B, and that's where all your money's coming from. Don't try and over in person A. They don't care about you. You're not for them. You want to focus on person B who's actually buying from you, and just think of a campaign to get more of them through your door. Okay. Now, before I go into business, I've only got about 5 minutes to show you this. I'm going to show you guys some programs you can use to track marketing. Now, the first thing I want to show you is Excel. I've got a couple of Excels over. I could probably use this one. It's one I had open earlier. Didn't quite get it finished. I'll send you, for those who are on again from this morning, I'll send it to you later. So what I'm going to do is I'm in Excel. Oh, and I better share my screen. Okay, so this is just Excel. Yeah, or Google Sheets or whatever program you got. But Excel specifically has some really good templates, right, from Microsoft. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say new, and right here there's a search bar, right? There is a search bar. There is a search bar. Look for templates in everything you do, especially in marketing. Templates, templates, templates. So we're going to look for a marketing template, and I'm just going to see what comes up, because I know there are some marketing project planners in here. So like this one. So the channel marketing budget, project plan layout, competitive analysis. All right, I haven't seen this one actually. Let's try this out. So marketing project planner. Okay, so this is literally a template. All I have to do is come in and replace this. So this is like a workbook. We're going to organize data, enter details, and worksheet from cell, blah, 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 blah. Whoops. And this goes into the list. So if I go back to marketing plan. So what is this? So this is, okay, what is the task in my campaign and how do I map it out? Is it started? Who's going to do it? So you can see owner and assigned to. That's the difference between team leader, who has to make sure it happens, and assigned to, as in the contractor or person who's going to get it done. When's it starting? When's it ending for just that task? And then the actual, okay? Now, this is based on a simple project planning formula, an even better one if you want. And now, so you probably asked the question of like, where do I come up with these tasks? You can try this, but essentially, I don't know if I have it in front of me. Oh, yes, I do. Hang on. I need post-it notes. Aha, I always have post-it notes. All right. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to figure out what tasks to do in your marketing campaign. Grab yourself some post-it notes. Yep. I've got a bunch of free ones that I get from my husband who goes to science conferences, and apparently that's a popular merchandise. But but you can just go to any stationery store, grab some post-its. What you're going to do on the post-its is you're going to put your goal for the campaign on the first one and put it at the far right-hand side of your table. You're going to put your budget on another one and put it on the far left of the table. And also the name of the strategy and the campaign on that. So this strategy it's following, like business strategy it's matching to, a working title for the campaign, and the budget for the campaign, put it on the far left of your table. This could be a dining table, a desk, whatever, something that you've got a nice, clear, glossy surface to stick to. In between, you're going to write all the major tasks that need to get done in order to do that. So if you know and this is after you've already brainstormed your campaign, right? So brainstorming your campaign is literally just thinking about that cause and effect of what's this person, who are they going to respond to? So if you want to use post-it notes to do that list of product, problem, product, person, all the rest, do that. Otherwise, just do it on an A4 sheet of paper, whatever your workbook, Word doc, whatever. But this is where we think about the task. So for everything that needs to get done in your campaign, you need to think, okay, so if I'm going to do a landing page, I'm going to put landing page, but then underneath that, I'm like, well, I'm also going to need a landing page builder program. So and then I have to search for a landing page builder program. And then I need to learn how to do the tutorial for the landing page builder program, right? And then you might look at that and go, oh, that landing page task is actually about 4 or 5 different tasks. And that's going to take me all day. So instead, I'm going to look at my budget and go, right, I've got $1,000. I reckon if I go onto Fiverr or Upwork or ask my friends, someone is going to be able to build me a landing, like maybe 50 or $100 or something. Okay. So think about the time spent in each set of tasks. If it's something you have to learn from scratch, really ask yourself, do I need to learn that from scratch? Is it something I'm going to use lots of times, all the time, that I should learn so that it takes me half an hour every time and I don't have to pay someone? Or is it like, I'm really just going to use it for this campaign, I'm just going to pay someone? Yeah. Where possible, use a local business. There's some really great marketing companies out there. There's also some really dodgy ones out there, I won't lie. So always get a list of quotes. If you're going to you're going to hire a service to do some campaigns for you in marketing, you must get at least 3 quotes for any kind of professional you use in your business. That's standard practice to do your due diligence, okay? For each of those businesses, ask them for examples of their previous work and really dig deep and ask yourself, does this fit a kind of criteria? Is it good? Would I buy this? Is this an impressive promotion, or does it just look pretty? Just another question. How are they asking to be paid? Is it a one-off fee, or am I going to be hidden up for lots of hidden costs and hourly rates and unexpected work from this? Okay. So for instance, I'm doing a webinar series for someone as a client, and I was like, you know what, I'm going to get someone else to help me do Q&A and chat. And they wrote back to me and they're like, is that extra? I'm like, no, of course not. I totally would have asked first, because I'm a good provider. Whereas, some people, they just try to milk it for all it's worth. Anyway, we're going to finish up the webinar there on that point. Sorry. The last thing is that you can also do a Gantt chart. So I'm just going to show you GANTT. Okay. Hopefully it should work. No. Surely that's going to work. You can also just put project. So look at project templates. Oh, I think it's my internet playing up. Hopefully you can see me. All right, guys. All right, I'm going to stop sharing. All right, that is it from me. I'm going to stop sharing. I hope that you've got everything out of today that you wanted to, and that and you're able to go from here into getting your marketing done. No worries. Thanks so much. And yeah, as I said, just get in touch if you need anything. Otherwise, have a great day, guys. Thank you.